Hi, you're listening to the Rav Dessler Giving Podcast with me, Avraham Ziedman. Hi, you're listening to the Rav Dessler Giving Podcast with me, Avraham Ziedman. Join us as we weave together philosophy, psychology, and Kabbalah to uncover a new depth to what it means to being a giver. Let's get some definitions. What is the definition of a giver? And I guess if you have a giver, the opposite must be a taker. A giver is someone who is outward focused, and a taker is someone who is inward focused. And all this is based on motivation. A giver sees themselves that they are here in this world for others, whether that means to help those who are less fortunate than I am, with my peers, respect for others, or even for God. My duty is for others. A taker sees that goal in life is how do I draw things in towards myself. In the words of Rav Dessler, a taker is someone who yis'aver ha'adam limshoch elav es kol haba b'samchumo. A person desires to draw into his boundaries. If you imagine that a person has a bubble around them, and inside this bubble, it's all everything that belongs to me. A giver seeks to go from inside the bubble to be able to give out of that bubble. And a taker wants to take from outside inside. By the way, these two words in Hebrew, in case you want to know, is there is a noisen, a noten, a giver, and a noitel, a notel, a taker. Noisen, giver, noitel, taker. Let's be clear. When we're talking about a taker, we're not talking about someone who has done a crime. You don't have to do theft to be a taker. The taker is merely the attitude of what do I get? What do I receive from this? What's in it for me? Rav Dessler says that this paradigm of take, is the shoresh, the source of kol haras, the source of all evil. Wow! Quite a bold statement. In fact, he goes even further than that. He says that every single thought, every single speech, and every action ultimately can be drawn into one of two camps. Your thought process is either a giving thought process or a taking thought process. When you speak, those words coming out of your mouth are either focused on others or focused on self, and so too actions. Either it is what's in it for me or what can I give to others. Let me just delve into that a little bit more. When we look at halacha with Jewish law, there are three categories in life. There is mitzvot, things that we need to do, aveirot, the bad stuff, and pretty much 70% or 75%, even higher, my life, which we will say is parav. It's not a mitzvah, it's not an aveira, it's not good or bad, it's just, it's life. There's no mitzvah to do walking or talking or eating or dressing or work. It's just, I can do it however I like. There are certain things I have to do, certain things I can't do. And the rest of life, the main bulk of life, let me do what I want. And that's what we call, it's parav. It's not a mitzvah, it's not an aveira. Or in the Hebrew term, it's called devar reshut. Permissible actions. However, according to the Baalei Mussar, the rabbis who are focused on the art of self-growth, they explain that this middle category, devar reshut, permissible acts, is non-existent. If you really go deep down and go into the psyche of why is the person doing this? Why is the person working? Why is the person eating? What is the person doing or thinking when he's having this conversation with someone else? Ultimately, it has to be either a mitzvah or an aveira. And on that, Rav Dessler says that if you go deep down, it comes to either being a giver or being a taker. What we see from here is being a giver is not just the mere actions, it is far broader than that. It's my whole ambience. It's my whole attitude. Now, one is not fixed one way or the other, and in later podcasts we're going to discuss how I can develop myself to be able to move from being a taker to being a giver. But what we see from here is that being a giver is not just doing the mere act. Now, it could very well be that if you do actions of giving, that could also have an effect on your psyche, and actions may make you become a giver. But our goal is more than just how many acts of giving have I done? How much volunteering have I done? It's more than that. Our real goal is to become a giver, not to do giving, but to become a giver. And please God, with the following podcast, we're going to look at this in more depth, and we're going to see how we can move the psyche of what's in it for me for what I can do for others. Be great, be a giver. It's more than just mere actions of giving. This podcast was proudly brought to you by Gift, where we're on a mission to inspire and enable lifelong giving. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to continue exploring the art of giving with us, please subscribe